I'm in Hammersmith, London, and crossing over the River Thames is a rather lovely suspension bridge known as the Hammersmith Bridge, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it. It's said to be the first suspension bridge built in London, but actually that's not true. Certainly this is the location for the first suspension bridge, but what we see today was built in 1887 to replace a bridge that had previously stood here from 1827, and it was this earlier bridge that was the first suspension bridge in London, but it doesn't matter because it no longer exists. The current Hammersmith Bridge took about 3 years to build using a supporting structure made from wrought iron that utilised the previous bridge's pier foundations. Whilst under construction, a temporary bridge was installed and the total cost of the project came in at around £15 million in today's money. Interestingly, the reason for its construction was because a boat collided with the previous structure, which until that point had been fine. However, rather than spend millions on patchy repairs, who would do that? They decided that the best option was to replace the bridge, which was a decision made even easier because they'd noticed that the weight of traffic was increasing, and why bother repairing the old bridge that was never designed for such traffic? The logical solution is, of course, to just build a new, stronger bridge. Which is exactly what they did, resulting in the 700-foot long, 43-foot wide Hammersmith suspension bridge, and all was well. But as the years went by, the traffic numbers and critically the weight of traffic began to increase, which caused structural issues within the bridge because, of course it would. It was designed and built in the 1880s when HGVs and delivery vans didn't exist, and so began decades of work to keep the bridge functional. In the 1970s, replacement steel trusses and new expansion joints were fitted. In the 80s, the bearings were replaced. In the late 90s, the bridge was closed as key structural parts were found to be excessively corroded, and once this was repaired, the bridge opened with a new weight limit of 7.5 tonnes, except for buses, so what's the point? Sadly, the bridge and the people of London suffered from an IRA attack in the year 2000, leading to more closures and repairs, with the bridge reopening in 2002. But at least in 2014, the bridge closed once again for repair and strengthening works. But it doesn't stop there. In 2016, the bridge was in need of yet more repairs and strengthening works, but this time there was a problem because the councils and authorities couldn't agree on who should pay for the work to be done. 3 years later, they were still arguing about it, but by this time the bridge had become a bit of a liability and it was decided to close the bridge completely for safety reasons. And you might notice that today, over 5 years later, it's still closed. Yes. However, whilst initially the bridge was closed off to everyone, in 2021 it was partially reopened to pedestrians and cyclists, and it's been that way ever since, but at least some agreements have now been reached and a programme of repairs and restoration is due to be carried out at a cost of, well, let's have a laugh, have a guess and put it in the comments below, but the repairs and restoration is supposed to be costing around £250 million. What the f***? I don't know either, but what I do know is that since the 1970s, millions upon millions has been spent on this bridge, and for what? We're left with a janky old bridge, and look, I know it's lovely, it really does look fantastic, but at what point do we say enough is enough and we just get rid of it and replace it with something designed to do the job? Don't forget, this bridge was never built or designed with heavy road traffic in mind. It was all horses and carts in those days, and also the reason it was built was to replace a damaged bridge, and here we are in the same situation. Oh, but John, it's a Grade 2 listed structure. Give a shit, build another one. It was only made a Grade 2 listed structure in 2008, and surely if a few blokes with pencils, paper and a bit of string in the 1880s could create this wonderful structure in 3 years, us today with our fancy computers could bang this out in a weekend, no doubt with a design that's fit for purpose whilst retaining all of that lovely aesthetic. We could, but let's not. Instead, we'll throw £250 million at some repairs that, if history has taught us anything, will last a matter of years before another load more money needs to be spent, and then another load of money. And did I mention that they're introducing a toll on the bridge? Yeah, we'll be paying for this. So how do you properly fix the Hammersmith Bridge? Well, we actually went through the solution at the start of the video. We do what they would have done in the 1800s, which is f*** off the old damaged bridge and replace it with a better structure. It's called progression. You can't keep fixing up these old things forever, and who knows, if you did build a new bridge 140 years from now, somebody might be telling the amazing story of the 3 Hammersmith bridges in a stupid YouTube video. Thanks for watching.